Okay, so we are reading the humming effect. We are on chapter 5, how to hum. Getting
Yeah.
started at humming, page number 52.
In the first part of this book, we
Shimangla,
discussed
your mic.
In the first part of this book, we discussed sound and the various elements necessary for sound to exist, such as breath. We also talked about what may be one of the most important factors that can amplify the power of sound: intent.
So again, intent is extremely important. Whatever we are doing, what is our intention behind it, actually empowers whatever we are doing. So if it's like, you have a boat and you don't have a rudder and you don't know where you're going to go, that means the boat is just going to drift here and there, it's going to go nowhere. But if I have an intent and I have the control of the rudder, then I know exactly where I am going. So as with anything that we do in life, with with sound also, when we are doing humming, intent matters a lot.
In this next section, we begin to work with exercises that involve humming, starting off quite simply and then getting more advanced. We recommend that you work through these exercises in the order in which they are presented in this book. To learn any new technique, even one as innate to humans as humming, it's important to proceed step by step. It is not a race, but rather a journey, and each step of the journey has its own lesson to teach. The exercises in this book will help you gain more and more experience with sound. With each exercise and each step in the process of learning to hum, you will become more and more adept at resonating your body with sound and better able to understand and use the power of your own self created sounds.
So again, it's a connection. Again, like we were talking in somatic intelligence, feeling your body, right? So with humming also, as we start becoming more aware of it, we can actually hum and see and feel how our body is resonating to that humming.
Since deciding to write this book, we have spent more and more time humming. Sometimes we hum by ourselves, sometimes we hum together. It doesn't matter. Each time we hum, it is a powerful and healing experience. It is also a learning experience because each time, sorry, it is slightly different depending on our pitch, our intention, and other factors. We will discuss all these influential factors as we progress through our practice of humming.
So again, I can sing from the nose, I can sing from the throat, I can sing from the chest, I can sing from my belly. Each of them will have a different tone. Each of them will have a different pitch. So each of them will have a different frequency of vibration. So naturally, they're going to affect different areas in my body system.
Feel the vibrations. Perhaps the most important aspect of humming is the actual vibrations that occur within our body as we hum. But people don't usually notice these vibrations. Often people hum a tune or a song unconsciously. When they happen to notice it, what draws their attention is usually the sound, not the feeling of vibrations.
So again, we are only paying attention to a part of what the sound is doing. So only the sound. Okay, but we are not looking at the vibrations that are created in our body. Again, very much like somatic intelligence, right? To be able to be observant of what is happening in our body when we are doing something.
As you begin to practice humming, we ask that you start by paying attention to feeling the sound in your body. Humming creates a lot of vibrations. As we'll discuss later, you can learn to project these vibrations to different parts of your body.
So again, you can project the sound using intent. So I intend the sound to go to my calf muscle. So you'll find that the sound will start going to your calf muscle. I intend it to go to my small toe. You'll find that it will start going to your small toe. So intent is what really makes the thing move.
As your technique progresses, you will also learn to encode intention onto your hum, further amplifying its power. This will build your hum into a vibrational tool for physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual transformation.
So again, like we use the reball, we set an intent with the reball. So for the greater good, for healing and well-being, for protection. So we are setting an intent when we are sending the reball also. So in the same way, we can encode our intent into the sound that we are creating.
First, though, it's important simply to feel where the natural resonance of the hum occurs in your body as you're making the sound. In order to do this, we want to make sure that you're making a proper hum.
Okay, so
No
now what
doubt.
happens? There is some, if any sound that you make will naturally vibrate in a certain area in your body. So what he's telling you here is that we need to start, first step is to start observing that.
In order to do this, we want to make sure that you're making a proper hum. No doubt you're quite sure you already know how to hum, but please do bear with us and read this next section regardless. If nothing else, we trust you'll find it amusing and fun to read, and you might even learn something from it. You know how to whistle? How many of you are familiar with the classic movie To Have and Have Not? It was a 1944 American film starring Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. Whether or not you have actually seen the movie, you may know a line from it that becomes so famous that it made it to 34 on the American Film Institute's list of the top 100 greatest movie quotes of all time. In this particular scene, Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart are flirting with each other. Bacall says to Bogart's character, Steve, "You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow." Now, this quote may not be as famous as Shakespeare's To Be or Not to Be, but we think it's a fun way to demonstrate the beginning of our humming lessons. If you've ever tried to teach a child how to whistle, you know it can be difficult. We've met some adults who still have not perfected their whistle. On the other hand, there are professional whistlers who get paid a good salary in Hollywood for their whistling ability. Just listen to the theme song from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and you'll hear one of the most famous melodies in modern music being whistled by a professional.
So this movie is a Western.
Despite Bacall's memorable line, whistling is not necessarily as simple as putting your lips together and blowing through them. But can the same thing be said about humming? Is there anyone on this planet who can vocalize sound but not hum? We think not. We think that
Shivangla, your
everyone
mic.
we think that everyone from newborn babies to the very elderly can hum.
It's not yet right.
Whether or not they can speak, sing, tone, or what have you, they can undoubtedly hum. It's a universal sound.
So you'll find children also humming, very naturally.
The nose must be open. In the 1950s, when we were still adolescents, Random House published a series of all about books. They were science books covering a variety of subjects and meant for juvenile readers. Most were written by experts in the field who just happened to think that kids deserve to know something about the subjects they themselves knew so much about. It's said that Einstein once stated that if you really knew something about a subject, You could explain it to a child.
So, right, this is very, very important, right? How simply can you explain the concept so that everyone can understand? The more you know about the subject, the more simply you should be able to explain it.
Sorry.
Fourth line from the bottom.
No, 1 second. It said that Einstein once stated that if you really knew something about a subject, you could explain it to a child. The All About books attempted to do just that. And we ourselves have attempted to continue that tradition in our own field of sound, taking complicated research on sound and simplifying it so that even people who are not as fascinated with the subject as we are can understand it.
Shimangla, your mic again.
We remember reading all about dinosaurs, all about whales, all about reptiles, all about stars, and a number of other books in this series. They were truly excellent books that we both enjoyed. A couple of years ago, a friend gave us a book called All About Sound that was part of this series. Neither of us had read it. We were thrilled. We'd like to say that we discovered a lot that day reading all about sound, but by then we knew most of the material regarding sound. But we did learn one thing that was so profoundly simple and yet so powerful that we found ourselves stunned. It was this. The book suggested that we hum and then hold our nostrils shut and see what happens. So we hummed and pinched our nostrils closed, and something amazing happened. The sound stopped.
So you can't hum with your nose blocked.
It had never occurred to us to try this before. We were giddy with glee. We did it again, and the same thing happened. Since then, whenever we mention the subject of humming to people, we inevitably ask them to hum while holding their nostrils shut. The result for us is usually pretty funny because we've yet to encounter anyone who has already known that you can't hum with your nose when your nose is blocked. We've explored this sonic prank many times with some very experienced professional people in the field of sound healing. Some have written books on sound for healing and transformation. Others have devised instruments that are used for sound healing. Still others are expert teachers on sound. None had any idea. Actually, there was one person who knew about the nose and humming. It was the person who had given us all about sound. You can't hum if your nose is blocked. This was a revelation to us and a fact we share with you, as it is important with regard to proper humming. In fact, not only must your nose and sinus cavity be open, but in order to hum most effectively, it is considered necessary by most vocal experts to have your mouth closed as well. There are some varying opinions about this, but for our purposes, we ask that you keep your mouth closed, making sure that no air escapes from your lips when doing the humming exercises in this book.
So all the air will come out only of your nose.
Nearly 22 years ago, sorry,
Shimangla, you have to expand it further. No one can read it.
actually, you know what? I don't know how to make it larger. The one once only I'm being even I would like it bigger, but I can only put one plus.
Acha, okay.
Then the minus sign is coming.
Acha, okay.
So everyone can take it on separately, opening it on your own also.
Yeah, you can
Like
open
I'm
in your
doing that.
phone. You can
Yeah,
open
you
on your
all can do that, but on my computer I cannot pinch
Yeah,
it
you can't.
bigger. I
You
can't.
can't.
I'm not being
Yeah.
able. Even I would like it bigger.
I know.
I'm having to strain as well. But what to do?
Yeah.
Even I'm opening it myself only, yeah.
Yeah, I've sent it on the WhatsApp. Nearly 20 years ago, Jonathan became fascinated with Tibetan deep voice chanting. This is the extraordinarily powerful sound made by Tibetan lamas, very deep and otherworldly sounding, almost like a growl. Jonathan spent quite some time attempting to produce this unique vocal sound, but to no avail. He even attempted trying to hum and whistle at the same time. While that made quite an interesting sound, it was not the Tibetan deep voice. In fact, because his mouth needed to be open in order to whistle, it wasn't even a real hum. Several years later, Jonathan did in fact receive the Tibetan deep voice in a process he calls harmonic transmission. He had recorded a group of Tibetan monks chanting, and he took this recording home and went to sleep meditating to the deep voice chanting of the monks. The next morning, when he woke up, he had the voice.
So again, this is like sleep learning. Okay. This is what actually prompted, or it was a precursor to even Robert Monroe's out of body experiences. So you play something at night and then you learn it at night because your subconscious mind is open. So subconsciously you take in what needs to be taken in, and then it becomes reality for you.
It was a most extraordinary experience and one Jonathan still cannot explain. We wanted to include it in this book as yet another example of the seemingly unbelievable experiences that can occur through sound. How to hum. We've looked up various definitions of the word hum on the internet, and most suggest a nasal sound with lips closed. A few sites included an open mouth technique, but from our perspective, this wouldn't be a true hum like Jonathan's experience trying to hum and whistle at the same time. Open mouth humming can produce a great sound and can be powerful, but it is not a true hum.
So what happens when you're singing, the voice is throwing out. Okay. So it's not internalizing the sound. In a hum, you're actually internalizing the sound. That's why the mouth has to be closed.
Someone is saying to repeat what you just added.
So I'm saying that when you're singing.
No, not before this. Before this, I think it must be the Monroe Institute stuff.
Yeah, so
Yes, before this.
the
Yeah.
Monroe Institute stuff over here, he says that he had recorded a group of Tibetan monks chanting, and he took this recording home and went to sleep meditating on the deep voice chanting of the monks. The next morning he woke up, he had the voice. So he was attempting to achieve the voice at a conscious level, and he was unable to achieve it. But then when he took the sound, recorded it and played it at night, and the next morning he was able to achieve it. So what happened? And he learned it at a subconscious level. So the chanting went into his subconscious, and then it came out into his conscious when he got up in the morning. So when Robert Monroe started doing stuff, his actual premise was that he was the owner of a radio station. And at that time, the radio stations were working only during the day. So he came out with this brainwave that at night the assets are lying vacant. Maybe I can use it for some purpose. So he started experimenting with sleep learning. When he started experimenting with sleep learning, like we play that you record 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, 2 plus 3 is equal to 5, like that. And you record it and play it back. It used to be done at our times. I don't know if people do it now. But you could record something and just play it at night. And what happens, it goes into the subconscious. So he was experimenting with that. And then one day, suddenly, his entire body started to shake and vibrate. And then he got very scared and all that. That's again in the story. But after some time, it actually led to his getting out of the body. And that's how the entire hemisync and the entire Monroe Institute came about.
If you open your mouth as you hum, the volume of the sound you are making increases, but the feeling of the sound vibrating usually fades. Of course, some people find that having their mouth open when they hum does not make much of a difference in the resonance they feel. But for others, the difference is tremendous. We don't know if there's such a word as pseudo hum, but we are using it now to describe any sort of sound that has air escaping through the mouth. At this preliminary stage of learning to hum, we ask you to hum with your lips gently closed. As you hum, you'll be able to feel your lips, throat, cheek, and your sinus cavity vibrating.
So now this is very important. Okay, when you're humming, the sound is reverberating within the sinus cavity, which again creates a resonance effect in the brain also. And the brain, of course, affects the entire body. So again, you're creating that resonance, which creates a sonic effect on the brain.
As you hum, you'll be able to feel your lips, throat, cheeks, and your sinus cavity vibrating. Together, these areas form your vocal cavity and it becomes a resonating chamber as you hum. As you progress with your humming in the exercises in the book, you will begin to be able to feel the resonance in your head and your chest as well. Ultimately, you will be able to project a hum anywhere in your body. For this first level of humming, let's follow the lead of Lauren Bacall and say, "You know how to hum, don't you? Just close your mouth and make a sound, and make sure you're not holding your nose."
Okay, so the idea is to keep it simple.
Choosing a comfortable pitch. As we discussed in Chapter 2, frequency is the number of cycles per second at which a sound is vibrating.
So again, frequency means that let's say in 1 second, how many times a sound is isolated. So the higher the frequency, the faster the wave is traveling.
Another word for this is pitch. Pitch is generally a more subjective term and open to interpretation. You might, for example, note that a sound is vibrating at 100 Hz, cycles per second, and that is its frequency. But you might also simply say that it has a low pitch, a lower sound. As we advance in our humming techniques, we will start exploring the ways in which different frequencies affect us by lowering and raising our pitch. But regardless of whatever pitch you choose to create, you don't want to strain your vocal cords.
So again, so this becomes important, okay? This has to be done without effort. So if you're straining, that means you're making it effortful. We need to do this effortlessly. So it has to be a very natural thing that happens to.
You'll know if you're straining because, quite simply, you'll feel discomfort around your throat area. Perhaps our only caveat with regard to self-created sound is to make sure that you are comfortable and relaxed. Keeping your pitch within your comfort zone is important.
So again, some people can go very high pitch. Some people can go very low pitch. Generally, we don't have a range. Singers have a bigger range. We have a smaller range. So we start working with the range that we operated, not aspiring to become that big. Of course, we can reach there with practice, but it takes practice. So let's work with what we have.
For most people, that means keeping their humming within the range of their normal speaking voice. Jonathan's father was a well-known otolaryngologist, ear-nose throat doctor, who treated many celebrities. One of these was Frank Sinatra, who once, after many evenings of singing at a New York City nightclub, strained his voice so badly that he literally lost it. He couldn't make a sound. Dr. Irving B. Goldman's prescription for this famous singer, 6 weeks of silence. Not even talking was allowed. After those long 6 weeks, Sinatra was fine and knew enough to rest his voice when necessary. He was not unique, however. Numerous singers have managed to strain their vocal cords and had to rest in order to heal.
So now the concept of riyaz, practice. so that your ability, your resilience start to increase in making sound. So that's why good singers, they practice a lot. Okay.
With regard to making comfortable self created sound, we also ask you to remember that louder is not better, particularly when you are working with humming for health and wellness. The most effective and comfortable sounds are not particularly loud at all. Sound does not need to be loud in order to create resonance or vibration.
So again, even in the Monroe Institute principle, we say the same thing, that when your headphones, you're using the headphones, louder is not better. Because even if it is playing at a low, very low, a low volume, the vibrations will still go. The brain synchronization will still take place. I even play my hemisync when I'm watching TV, okay, at a very low volume, and I find that it makes the TV watching more pleasurable. So you can actually do anything with that sound at the background, and it doesn't have to be very loud.
Particularly when you are working with humming for health and wellness, the most effective and comfortable sounds are not particularly loud at all. Sound does not need to be loud in order to create resonance or vibration. While this book is dedicated to the healing and transformative use of humming, we must acknowledge that anything that can be used positively can also have the opposite effect. From our perspective, humming has only positive and beneficial experiences, as long as you are gentle with yourself and don't overdo it. So, once again, we begin with, you know how to hum, don't you? And now add, just close your mouth and make a comfortable sound.
Okay, 1 second. Now we need to hum. So let me find it. It's not here.
Should I read the next thing? The most
Yeah,
basic
read, read,
hum.
read it.
Beginning to hum. The most basic hum begins with the sound. Pretend you've taken a bite of the most delicious food you've ever had, and with a comfortable and gentle voice, make a sound that shows your appreciation. Mmm. That's the hum. As they learn to hum, people occasionally have slight difficulty initially making this sound. If that's the case for you, you might try starting instead with the well known mantra Om, closing your lips after the O and drawing out the You could also start with the actual word hum, closing your lips after the H and elongating the As you hum, some proponents suggest that your jaw should be relaxed and that it's not necessary for your teeth to be touching. Others say that the teeth be gently touching. We've even encountered sources that call clenching your teeth. Personally, for ourselves, we keep our mouth closed and our lower jaw as relaxed as possible. Depending upon your oral cavity, this might mean having a slight space between your upper and lower teeth, or it could mean having your teeth rest slightly against each other. We do not recommend clenching your teeth. We have found a relaxed jaw is best when you are humming for health and wellness.
So basically, be relaxed. The point is that your comfort is important. I think it is important in any kind of expanded state of consciousness state that we are going into. If you are relaxed, it is easier to get into those states. Having said that, in many paddhatis, they say, no, you have to be very stiff, you have to do that. But I think times have changed and our comfort is very important. Previously, we were more adapted to the rigors, we were more hardy. Nowadays, people are not as hardy. So naturally, it creates a problem. Okay, now let's listen to the sound before we read the rest of it. Just 1 second, let me share the sound. Shivangla, there's 3 things in the chat.
Okay.
Just see it once.
No, I've already told you about that. Request you all to ask the questions in between when we take a pause, because it's difficult to go to the chat.
Can you all hear the sound?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
How to Hum, Part 1.
These next few exercises are from Chapter 5 of our book. We're going to demonstrate a few simple hums. Remember to take a nice deep breath before each hum.
Now we're going to demonstrate some easy ways of humming. We're going to start by adding an O to the beginning of the hum. You'll start out with the O sound, but when you gently close your lips, the major emphasis will be on the mmm.
Many people find this helps them initially create a hum. Jonathan and I will both demonstrate this. Now we're going to demonstrate another way that's very helpful when initially learning to hum. This time we're going to add the huh sound to the beginning of the hum, making sure the major emphasis is on the mm. So you'll start out with the huh, mm. Jonathan and I will both give a demonstration of this.
Shimangla, you're on.
Find a comfortable location where you will be able to make the sound freely without being disturbed. Sit comfortably with your back straight, making sure that you are not bent over. It's possible to hum while you are lying down, but the vibrational effect that we are seeking will not be the same. You could also hum with standing. But when we stand, a certain portion of our mind is occupied with balance and dealing with gravity. Sitting up is the best position for using self created sound for healing and transformation. In addition, it is helpful to have your eyes closed when making vocalized sound. This seems to amplify the ability to feel the resonance of the hum.
So again, when you close your eyes, basically what you're doing is that you're taking away a lot of the stimulus, because we get a lot of stimulus from the eyes. A lot of data comes in. So when you close your eyes, it has also been seen, as soon as you close your eyes, the alpha waves increase in your brainwave pattern. So you automatically go into a relaxed state when we close our eyes.
Take a few slow, deep diaphragmatic breaths, releasing any stress or tension in your body. Take one or more slow, deep breath and then gently hum, using the om, or hum sound as described above. If you are using the om or hum sound, spend only a second or two with the initial o or h, and then use the rest of your breath for the Hum is a monotone, holding the same tone throughout without varying your pitch. Hold the hum for 5 to 10 seconds or as long as it is comfortable. Do not overextend the hum to the point of discomfort.
Okay, so you have to hold the same pitch.
When your hum ends, take one or more deep diaphragmatic breaths and then hum again. Practice making the sound, keeping your pitch steady and keeping your volume gentle until you feel comfortable with your hum.
So again, louder is not better. You have to, the longer you hold it, it's better. So the gentler you hum, it is automatically better. So we can practice these three hums just by closing your mouth and doing the ma, then you have the om, and then the ma, and then the hum, and the hum. So we've got three tones now to practice. We can stop here today because we won't be able to do it today. It's too much in this chapter. Anyone, anything? It's interesting, right? Just become aware of it.
Yeah, very good.
Very interesting.
Easy to do.
Yeah. So I think what we are doing in somatic intelligence merges very well with this book also. That you're becoming aware of the vibrations which are there in the body. Where is it vibrating in the body? Jyoti, you have something to say? Please go ahead.
वे आप जो ये बता रहे थे मॉन्क का म्यूजिक को नाइट में सुन के रहते थे.
हाँ.
I use this technique for my kids.
Yes.
वो जब छोटे थे उनको जब
हाँ.
चैप्टर्स याद नहीं होते थे
हाँ.
तो उनको बोलती है आप मुझे दे दो चैप्टर्स और सो जाओ.
हाँ.
फिर मैं वो रीड करती थी उनको नींद में.
हाँ, beautiful.
नेक्स्ट मॉर्निंग they बोल के सारा कुछ याद है हमको.
Wonderful. Such a beautiful thing.
मैं
It
दोनों बच्चों
actually
के साथ
works.
किया ही.
Because see, I'll tell you, when you are in deep sleep, you are in a delta frequency, right? You're wide open. You're psychically wide open, and you're garnering a lot of information from the field at that time. So when the voice is coming in that state of consciousness, then automatically then that learning will start taking place. Plus, the best time I would say is when they are in a combination of alpha, theta, and delta. When all three are playing together, at that time, I think the learning will become even more pronounced or even much better. So
एग्जाम
the concept of reading bedtime stories was basically this, that the child used to go to sleep while hearing the story.
हाँ
And then the story used to go into the head of the child.
Right.
Okay. अपने कल्चर में दादी लोग ऐसे ही कहानी बताते थे. In Western countries, they actually have that concept of reading a book to the child while the child is going to sleep.
दोनों बच्चे स्टोरी सुन के ही सोते थे, लेकिन इनके एग्जाम्स में जब वो नहीं याद होता था उनको,
हाँ.
तो वो चैप्टर मुझे दे देते थे, मैं रात को उनको सुनाती थी और मॉर्निंग पूरा इनको याद था.
Wonderful, so beautiful. I wish more parents knew this technique and actually employed it. Now, of course, we've got technology, so we can just record it and play it at that time. And there's so many more things we can do. Anyone else, anything?
निकेत, आजकल अगर बच्चों को पता चल जाएगा ना, ये तो बोलेंगे मम्मी हम सो रहे तुम पढ़ो.
बट क्या है कि बेसिकली एक बार तो पढ़ना पड़ेगा वो लोग को, but it can be reinforced. सुनिए, हम और आप we've crossed that stage.
Yeah.
अपने पोता पोती होंगे तब अपने
Grandchildren.
So Mukul, now you're at it now.
Yeah. I'm making a note of it.
Yeah.
Done.
रविंद्र जी कुछ बोलने वाले हैं इसमें. He's laughing. अरे अनम्यूट करिए अपने आप को.
Said I am enjoying.
चलिए. Anyone, anything else? Otherwise we can wrap up. We're meeting for meditation.
Niket, can I just say something?
Yeah, please.
Another correlation, just to give everybody a little better understanding of that somatic experience. When they spoke of Frank Sinatra in the book about how he healed himself by just giving his voice rest for 6 weeks. So this is the same premise that we are working on in somatic healing. By just giving a chance to your body to heal, by listening to your body. She gave us an example, Zia, of a fracture, what happens in a fracture and how you allow the body to heal. The doctor's really not doing anything. So I just thought this correlation is something that maybe give everybody a better understanding.
Absolutely. The more we listen to the body knows what it wants. And we've experienced this in the Vastu workshop. We experience this all the time, and we did this experiment also. I asked you all to hold write something on the slip of paper and then just stand against the wall and see the effect that it has. So the body is so sensitive that even just writing something on a piece of paper and keeping it in your hand affects you. So you can understand that, how sensitive the body is and what the body is experiencing all the time with so many stresses that we are putting on it. Today now with Wi-Fi, with 5G and all sorts of toxic things around us, what is happening? The body has to jhelo so much. Most of us, we don't care what we are eating, right? We keep shoving it in and the body has to deal with it. So you can imagine if you do an experiment that whatever you're eating through the day, just take a jar and keep putting it into that and you see the kind of jhamela that you create with what you've been eating through the day. You'll understand what the body has to jhelo. So, these things are very important and listening to the body is extremely important in my view.
Bhaiya,
Yeah.
Bhaiya, can I ask Christina for her number, please?
Yeah, it's on the group.
No, but it's not with her name, so I couldn't figure out which was her.
I'll give it to you. Do you have a pencil there?
Yeah, I've got it.
It's 981
981
97
97
533
533
90.
90. Thanks, Christina.
You're welcome.
You can also put questions on the chat, right? I think
Okay,
Zia will answer.
I'll do that.
But it's great. I think this helping each other out is beautiful. Okay. Anyone else? Anything?
No, thank you.
Thank you. So see you all for meditation. Today we have the Vastu talk in the evening.
I'm not joining meditation. I have a bonsai workshop.
No problem. Go ahead. Enjoy your
Ram.
Yes.
meditate with your bonsais.
I do it. Nowadays I've started reballing my bonsais before I prune them.
Yeah.
And I send them a lot of love and all that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ram Ram.
Okay, Ram
Ram
Ram.
Ram.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Ram
Ram.
Ram.
Bye.
Thank you, Shri
Thank
Mangla.
you.
Ram Ram.
Thank you.